Hi, I'm Amanda and welcome to Self. I'm here to have conversations, share ideas and experiences to explore the self with the aim of helping people to live happier and healthier lives. Today, joining me is one of my best friends in Bali, YaoYao Forest. YaoYao, welcome to Self.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here.
You're very sweet. So YaoYao, you are a influencer slash vlogger, and also I know you've got many more skills than that, but in the Chinese YouTube space of mindfulness.
Yes. So, hi everyone. I am a Chinese YouTuber and I have a channel called YaoYao Forest in China, Bilibili. And most of my content is about meditation, mindfulness, and spiritual practice.
Yeah. And what got you started on this path here?
Holy, wow, that's a long story to get here. I think God chose me.
Okay.
And just kidding. And so I was grow up in a very abusive family, and so I have a lot of issue when growing up. My mom was a gambler. My father was a teacher, teaching in university. But when they marry quite early, when they're really young and they know nothing about life. So they got married, they're pregnant. I'm the first child. And then my mom started gambling a lot, so she loses a lot of money, and my father had to pay the debt all the time. So they have the fighting all the time, physically, language violence all the time in the house. So I was growing up in a really bad situations.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And yeah, I have a lot of trauma. Obviously, like fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of injustice, all the kind of thing. I have really low self-esteem when I was growing up because my father was keep telling me I'm a loser when I was just a kid, because my mom did a lot of damage to his mental health, right? So he would always tell me I'm a loser, I will never be success in my life, and I will be poor all my life, I will go to jail of my life. So imagine to grow up in that kind of family. I have depression when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
I want to suicide every day. That's how I grow up. And luckily, I have my music. Music is my passion. So music saved my life. I started playing guitar. I sing every day to heal myself when I was teenage. But at that time, I was pretty bad. I don't want to go to school. I hate everybody, and I think of myself is really ugly. So I was not dare to talk to anybody in the school. I was as a weirdo in the school, hiding in the back of the classroom. Don't dare to talk to anybody. Yeah, so that's how I grew up. And then while growing up, I started travel around China with my guitar. I was singing on the street to make money. I finally get out of my family and was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm free now after my 18 years old. I just travel around China with guitar, and I met two rock climbers on the street.
Yeah.
After I traveled to a really beautiful city called Guilin in China, it was a really beautiful place. I played guitar on the street and I met two rock climbers. They brought me to rock climbing. So I started to rock climbing all over China or over Asia.
And sorry to interrupt you. So how old are you at this point when you're climbing and traveling around China?
I was 22 already at that
so
time.
So you had been out of home
for 4 years.
All right.
I was doing all the kind of job, like a waitress, selling juice on the street, and like cleaning houses, doing all the kind of job. Actually, I went to university, but it's not what I like. I love music more, but my father was pushing me to learn to study architect. Imagine.
Yeah, I think every Asian parent wants their
Exactly.
kid to go to uni.
Yeah,
So.
and I hated. I was in the classroom study all the architect content, and I fell asleep every day. I know that I want to get out. I know I don't want to be there, so I just take my guitar and left. That's my story.
Yeah, so you were rock climbing around China. And then I know that you've made, is it more than one documentary on climbing?
Yes, after my 25 years old, I become a filmmaker. Yeah. Because one of my friend, he make a film about rock climbing. I was watching it and I was like, whoa, how do you do that? How do you make the film? So he teach me Adobe Premiere. So I started to learn camera and started to learn editing. So I become a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So I make a documentary about my friend rock climbing, about around Asia, around Europe. That's how I start to be. Yeah.
And I guess a lot of those skills you're using now in making these other videos and these vlogs that you make for your channel
was a perfect setup. Everything was perfect. I become a rock climber, then I met my filmmaker friend. I become a filmmaker. Then eventually, one day I was get my camera. I was like, okay, I want to make something good for people. About mental health. Because at that time I was already posting documentary that I make on Bilibili on Chinese YouTube. And at that time, I got a lot of followers, and they asked me how you start your life, how you started traveling, how you make money. So I started to think, okay, maybe I can make a vlog, just talk about how I make money, how I travel. So one day I was in Turkey in a really small hotel. I was thinking about in my mind. I said, okay, I want to help those people. They're really good to give me comment on my channel. So I grabbed my camera. I was so nervous. I remember I was shaking and my hair was covering my face. That was the first time I was facing the camera alone to talk, because before I only posted about documentaries. I was not in there. So that's my first time. I was like, hey guys, this is how I make money. This is how I get out from my family. My family is like this. I was grow up in depression, how I heal myself through meditation and mindfulness practice. Then from there, that video got me so many followers, just explode, go viral.
Yeah, and people found a lot of, I guess, a lot of value in what you had to offer. Because you've obviously, as you've shared, there's been like a really big journey for you. And healing. We've spoken a lot about healing because it's ongoing, right? You know, there's no, I guess it doesn't, you're not just healed and then you're done and now you're this healed, perfect thing.
No.
Yeah. And I also don't think it's about being broken. It's just things that happen in, you know, to us, around us in life, different traumas and whatnot. And in our experiences, there are things that have this big impact that takes time to heal from. And obviously, you know, it's incredible that your followers have been able to get a lot of value and have found your advice helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah. So family, I mean, coming from an Asian background, you're Chinese, I'm Vietnamese. I think when we've spoken about this stuff, like there are a lot of similarities in how we grew up because there's a lot of that common pressure that exists. And you and I are both firstborn. We're both females. And we experienced, I think, quite, you know, a lot of turbulence in both of our homes. And that's like, it's a lot. And I'm, you know, even though I know this about you, it's still like I'm sad to hear these things again. At what point, I guess, did you recognize that there was work that needed to be done to heal and to start going inwards and to reflect on these things at home, you know, in your childhood?
Well, I was unaware like for 25 years.
Okay.
Like I have a lot of trauma, but I have no idea I have.
Yeah.
I think everybody was living that state before, right? You call no awareness state.
I don't know if there's
Like
a name
you have
for
so
it,
many trauma from your family, but you have no idea. But you just keep repeating the same pattern in your relationship, and so everything is come out in real relationship.
Yes, relationships, particularly romantic relationships, tend to hold up a mirror where you're able to see yourself quite clearly, whether you like it or not. And so you said at 25, this was something that became very obvious to you.
A big change. Well, so when I was 25 years old, I already become a rock climber for 3 years. And one day I went to a mountain, really famous mountain for rock climbing with my friend. I was belaying my friend. My friend is on the rock. And a yoga teacher passing by, he went to hiking the mountain. And he was passing by, and my friend know his friend. So my friend is talking to his friend. And then I was talking to him. I was like, what you doing here? And he's American, a young man. And he said he's yoga teacher. I was like, oh, I want to learn yoga. And he said, yes, you can teach me rock climbing. I teach you yoga for free. So
smooth.
that was my life change point. That's where it got me into the spiritual practice world. And I was seeing this young man. He was teaching me yoga, meditations. Then we started dating.
Right.
After 2 weeks, we already know each other is like we're really important to each other in each other's life, and we fall in love crazy. If he listening to this podcast, wow, I will really want to thank him to brought me into this healing self-observation world.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's totally changing my life from there.
Yeah.
So he is quite famous in China and on Instagram. So
we don't need to name names.
Okay, we don't need to give him name.
Yeah, let's
he was a really
respect some privacy just
really
in case.
young and wise man.
Yeah.
He's the most intelligent man I ever met in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's where I start to learn mindfulness, yoga. We was traveling around China and Asia to give workshop. So at that time he already famous, and he was giving workshop around Asia. So I got a lot of benefit from it because I was traveling with him. I was looking at him, what he's doing. He was teaching mindfulness, meditation, yoga practice. So from there, I'm starting to have awareness. What is this?
Yeah.
But my mindfulness practices come from the fighting. I have a lot of
conflict.
The conflicts. Obviously, I grew up in a really abusive family. I have a lot of hidden trauma that I have no idea. Then everything's present out from the relationship with him, because he was really famous and he's really popular. All the girls fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was so young. I was so insecure. I have a lot of trauma. I was really low self-esteem. I don't trust myself. When I see him with a lot of girls, I was like, oh my God, what's this? Why you be with so many girls? Yoga words, you know?
Okay, but by be with, you mean just in the physical space of, like, he was, as a yoga teacher, more of his audience was likely to be women.
Girl, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I was jealous. I was threatened to leave this relationship. I was causing a lot of chaos to him. At the time, he already had really strong mindfulness practice. He's a really loyal person, but it's just me.
Yeah, so that's a you thing. That was on you and what you were projecting onto the relationship. Yeah, and you were projecting on him because of your own insecurities.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously. I mean, 100%, I've been there. I feel like completely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from there, I've started to look at myself. Oh my God, what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And after so many fighting, so many arguments, I realized, yes, I do have a lot of trauma from my parents.
Yeah.
I grew up with really low self-esteem because my father keep telling me all these harmful, warm words, and really was haunting me in my mind that I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful, I'm ugly, I will always be a loser. All these words haunting me. So I start to go inwards to look at myself. Then after the first time I break up with him, and so I start to practice meditation to go inward to see where those words come from. Why I'm so harsh to myself.
So you were dissecting where these beliefs originated from.
Yes.
Because they obviously existed. You became aware of these insecurities and this thought pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did you, so through meditation, is that what you used as a tool to start reflecting and going inward?
Yeah, that was the first time that I did meditation and starting to look at myself. Also, this young wise man, which my ex-boyfriend, he gave me a lot of tools to help me with mindfulness practice, to help me to analyze, observe all this language in my mind, the pattern I was keeping, repeat every day. So he's helping me to analyze every words.
Yeah.
Which one is narrative, which one is a story, which is true. So from there, I was starting to have awareness, like all this language narrative in my mind. Which one is true? Which one is just your story? Which one causes your pain? Which is necessary? So from there, that's my spiritual practice journey beginning.
Yeah. And what did you do with that information when you were able to I suppose, like separate these different patterns? What did you do with it?
Wow. So mostly the sufferings come from the narrative in our brain, right? Because it's come from our childhood, how our parents was talking to us. It's shaping our narrative in our mind.
Yeah.
So what I do is I see it as a monkey, like our brain is a crazy monkey.
Yeah, the monkey mind.
Yes, monkey mind. And I give all my negative narrative in my mind a name, a really cute name. Mine is like Eva. So Eva. It's from the Wall-E. Did you watch in the movie Wall-E?
Wall-E?
Yeah, his girlfriend.
Okay.
His girlfriend destroyed everything when the first time Wall-E saw her. That she was destroy everything. So that's my narrative monster name.
Okay.
So I give my monster a name. So every time I have a narrative, like a negative self criticism coming out, I will think about, okay, Eva is coming out. Okay, she's going crazy. La la la. Just a monster. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So just ignore it. So mostly I'm just observing my monster, my Eva, talking in my brain, hey, you're not good enough, you're ugly, nobody like you. So I'm just absorbing it and not engage. No engagement.
Observing rather than engaging with.
Yes.
So just kind of watching from the outside and watching this little robot
Crazy.
monster go crazy, and you're just watching.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And then what else did you do with the information?
Well, from there, I starting to realize, wow, this past trauma is really damaging a lot of people, not only me. So, and for example, I receive a lot of comment on my channel. A lot of girls was living in the same family like me.
Family dynamic.
Yeah, it's same. Many of them. They ask me, hey, how you heal yourself from this? And my parent was always abusing me and criticizing me, how I can get out from this. So I receive like 1,000 message like this every day. Because, in China, the population was huge. And the education was really bad, really old system. And everybody mostly people was suffering from the traditional culture. And the Chinese culture was, I don't know, anybody know the Chinese culture. They are pretty suppressed and pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We had to follow the rules. If you're a girl, you're not good enough when you're born because a boy is more important.
Yeah, carrying on the family name,
Yeah.
being physically stronger.
Yeah, and you're a girl, you're less.
Yeah.
When I was born, my mom tell me that your father is not happy when you're born.
Oh, yeah.
And from there, I was like, oh my God, I need to be a boy. I need to be strong. I need to be tough. I need to be rich so I can prove myself good enough.
Oh.
But you didn't choose your gender. In China, the gender was, how to call that? The gender bias. Like if you're a girl, you just don't feel you're good enough.
Yeah.
It's tradition mindset. It's really old mindset. Yeah.
And so you, growing up, then felt the need to be something that you're not, to really embody masculine traits, masculine roles, and to prove that you were worthy of love.
Yeah.
From love and acceptance from your parents, I guess.
Yes. You just don't have love. And you had to work so hard for it.
Yeah.
But you didn't choose your gender. So what you can do for that?
Yeah.
So in Chinese tradition is if you're a girl, you had to kind of service the whole family.
Yeah.
You do everything. You clean the house, you go to school, you take care of your brother, and then you get married. And when you make money, you still need to take care of your parents. You still need to service them. Kind of like slave. Kind of like slave. It's still really, this belief really strong in China. So many girls like me, we feel we're so less. We're not worthy and we are pleaser all our life. Just try to please the whole family because you don't have love. You want to satisfy them. You want to earn it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's,
So you begin this practice at 25 when you're in this relationship and you start becoming more aware of some patterns that come out in conflict in your relationship. You recognize a lot of childhood wounds and you're working through these things as you go. What, I guess, like in that space for you, as you're working, for me, what I found is as you're working through these things, like more things come up, right? Like you do the work, it's like peeling layers back from an onion. You start going, oh, there's another layer. It's like I've peeled this, I've dealt with this, and then you find something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I met you, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago in
3 years ago we met.
First
yes,
time.
Actually, the very first time you and I met at a pub quiz night.
Yeah, exactly.
In Ahmed, our little beautiful fishing village of Ahmed in Bali.
That was a beautiful night. Yeah.
Yes.
And then when I first saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so hot.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. As an Asian woman, you're physically really attractive. I had to say that.
I did not pay you to say this.
If anybody see Amanda in real.
No, shut up. Okay.
No
anyway.
more. No more shower.
No more. Okay. So yeah, we met that night.
And at that time, I was with my ex-boyfriend still.
Okay.
He was doing a lot of workshop in Bali already, so we moved to Bali. But I have a lot of trauma. I still have a lot of fighting with him, always yelling. Also, he have his own trauma too.
Yeah.
So everybody have. We're
yeah.
human.
We've all got our shit to deal with. Yeah.
And so we have a huge fight. Then I went to travel alone. And that's where I met you. And then I break up with him after that because he have some issue. Everybody has an issue. We didn't heal ourselves. Then we break up. Then I went back to China, and then I went back to Bali like 1 year ago. Then that's where we starting to hang out all the time. I was dating a man. Also is your friend who is a free diver.
Okay, hold on. Okay, if we're going to go into that space, which we can absolutely, we can definitely talk about it. I just want to be respectful and mindful. So obviously he needs a different name. What are you calling him?
Bonobo.
Bonobo?
Yes.
Bonobo. Okay, who is Bonobo?
I was dating a man who from Germany.
No, yeah,
Germany.
stop.
Okay.
We're gonna no.
Okay.
But Bonobo, I just meant what does the name Bonobo come from? We're gonna have to look. Okay, if there's been a cut, it's in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, I don't like to cut things, but I'm just mindful of not. I'm just mindful and respectful of a bit of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know what? This is the reality. It happened, right? Like this happened with you. So we can, yeah. All right.
And I can talk about how to say my breakup, and then you can.
No, we can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's go there. Okay.
So the layers you was mentioning about the trauma is you coming out again and again, the trauma like onion.
Yeah. So, but pause. I just want to pause before we get into
Sensitive.
yeah, very sensitive stuff that happened last year. I just want to go back real quick to identifying, because like we've got here that you identified these patterns and these traumas and you're working through them in the space of relationship. But there's also space that happens at the end of a relationship that really, for me, gives us a great opportunity to reflect and to actually integrate change if we're willing to do the work. So what happened for you at the end of that relationship? So we're talking 3 years ago now when I first met you, and then you said you guys broke up.
Mm-hmm.
What were some realizations for you and what did you do with it?
Well, I was in a really bad state at that time. Even I was starting practice mindfulness and meditation already, but I didn't really real to do my spiritual work. Like really go back to my childhood trauma, analyze everything there, what happened in my household. And I didn't at the moment for sure. I start like last year. And
Wow, okay.
Real spiritual practice, real dive into all my trauma to see everything that was starting last year.
Okay, so we're talking for a number of years, you had the awareness. So you could see, almost like an observer, you could see, hey, this is YaoYao. She's made up of, these experiences. You could see some of the trauma. You could see the pattern playing out. But the doing of the work to move through that, to end the patterns, you're saying that didn't really happen until last year.
Yeah, until last year.
Okay. So let's talk about last year.
Okay, guys, the drama is coming. Are you
Yeah.
guys ready?
Okay, it's time to spill the tea. Okay, so last year, pandemic times, I was here in Bali.
Yeah.
I got here in April and I was with my ex.
Yes.
You guys arrived, what are we calling him?
Bonobo.
Bonobo. Okay, you arrive here with Bonobo like middle of the year.
Yeah.
And Bonobo and I and my ex, so the three of us knew each other from
Long
3
time
years
ago,
prior.
yeah.
Yeah. Small community, so this is...
We started hanging out every day.
Yeah, it was very common. Anyway, and last year you guys get here. We're a couple. You're a couple.
Yeah.
So we hang out loads. There aren't that many people in Ahmed, obviously, and there aren't... it's nice to have other couples to hang out with. So we were spending probably nearly every day, if not every other day. We would...
4 of us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the 4 of us, we would go to dinners together. We were co-working together. I mean, we would just... spending a lot of time together, and it was great. That's how you and I became best friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we bonded so strongly, and it was beautiful. And I love having female friendships, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just such a gift to me, having you around, and we spoke about everything.
Yeah, at that time, I was just starting my channel. I was editing every day.
Yes.
I remember you guys asking me, what you doing? I was editing every day
You
on
were
my
always
laptop.
working. Yeah.
At that moment, I only have like 30,000 followers at that time. And I worked so
Only.
much. And then I was burnt out. I
Yeah.
burned out from doing, guys, not easy to be a YouTuber. If you start a channel, be careful, take care of yourself,
Yeah.
and keep a lot of time for yourself.
Yeah.
Do a lot of self-care.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in a hurry. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about that because that's what happened. I remember you were you were editing and pouring so much energy and effort in, and you know, there were often times when I would see you and you were completely drained
Yeah.
from, you know, doing all of this. And we took a little holiday for maybe nearly a couple of weeks or something to the south of Bali. Do you remember that? Like, you got a house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you got
was
like
invite
several.
you guys.
Yeah, you got like a couple of villas, and we ate excellent
To
food.
celebrate,
We
yeah.
were playing board games and stuff. We had a great time together.
Amazing. That was a really beautiful time. I really appreciate you guys around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a really special time for the four of us to bond, and we spoke about a lot of things. We formed quite deep connections, and there was a lot of vulnerability that came out because we trusted each other.
Yeah.
I mean, a very natural part of friendship, right? Where
Exactly.
you just end up talking about life and love and everything. I don't think that there was much that we didn't speak about, and there was a lot that we could relate to in each other's relationship dynamics. Then you, for some fresh inspiration and need for creativity,
I need to go to Ubud.
yes, you decided to go and spend some time alone in Ubud just to, yeah,
Because I was burnt out. I need to take a break from Ahmed.
yeah,
So I go to Ubud for some inspiration from the mindfulness practice, meditation practice from another teachers.
yeah.
So I was decided to take a break from Ahmed. That's where I left. And I went Ubud alone. That's where the drama began, where my
Okay.
spiritual journey, the real spiritual practice began.
Yeah. Okay. So I can feel my heart, my heartbeat increasing because
It's really sensitive.
we
topic,
haven't
yeah.
spoken about this together in a while as well, and I can feel myself actually getting a bit emotional talking about it. Okay. Do you want me to share what happened?
You can
and
share
then
what happened.
I'll share. Okay, so I'll share some, and then you can go into what happened on your side.
I can say something first. No matter what Amanda gonna say after this, I am really grateful what happened. I'm really appreciate what happened
Yeah.
last year, and that's made me becoming a better person today. Made me to have a much more deeper awareness today. Yeah, you can keep going.
Okay. So, my ex and I had a fight, and he was in the south. I returned to Ahmed. Your ex, Bonobo is what we're calling him, isn't it? Okay, so Bonobo. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Okay, Bonobo was already in Ahmed. You were in Ubud. So, just for a frame of reference, for people who don't know Bali, Ubud is about an hour and a half away from Ahmed.
Yeah.
So we're in this little town. I was feeling a bit sad, obviously, because, you know, I had this fight. And just, yeah, I guess Bonobo and I caught up for lunch, which was like a very normal thing for us to do. I think I shared this with him that, like, I think he asked me, you know, hey, what's going on? Like, he could tell that I was upset. I was like, yeah, look, I'm feeling a bit sad because this happened. just don't know what's going on. I was just in a bad headspace as well. I think I definitely would have cried. And he was being in my eyes, he was being a good friend and consoled me. The next day, I think we, just did some co-working together or something. There wasn't much chat from what I remember. And then there was a group dinner event. Was it that night? Yeah, I think it was that night. So there was this group dinner. Someone had gone spearing and caught some fish. So it was great. We had, a big group gathering, great dinner. And I went home. Now, was it that night? No, I think it was the next. Anyway, semantics. It doesn't matter. I get caught up in the details. I'm sorry. Okay. But basically, I'm sitting in my villa and my curtains are closed. My door's locked. And in my villa spaces, the rest of the complex is empty because this is pandemic times. It's very quiet. I was the only person staying in the complex. And I heard someone, I thought I heard footsteps. And I was like, hello? No one replied. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get murdered.
That's so creepy.
So I hear, everything, it's dead quiet and I'm just listening in and going, is this in my head or is someone really out there? So I'm listening and I swear I hear footsteps again. I was like, hello? No answer. And I just decide, okay, I need to open up my curtains. I just need to confront whatever's there. If I can see what's there, then who is there, because I figure obviously it's a person, then I can decide what I'm going to do. How am I going to fight this person? So I come up to my door and I open the curtains and Bonobo is standing there.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Bonobo, what are you doing? You scared the shit out of me. And he had his hand behind his back and pulls out an envelope. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And he's like, oh, it's just for you to read, read it whenever you want. And I was like, what? And instantly my gut was just like, this is not good. Instinctively, I knew. I was like, I don't think I want to know the contents of this envelope. Anyway, and I'm like, okay, it was just super weird. I was like, okay, bye. And then he left and I locked the doors. And then he messaged me and said, this is just for your eyes only. And I remember calling up one of my mates and going, what do? I don't have a good feeling about this. Do I open it? Do I not? YaoYao's my best friend. I don't know. And I don't know if this was the right thing to do or not. But I decided that I would open it, and regardless of whatever, it was always that I was going to share it with you. So I open up the envelope and it's this 5-page love letter. And he will dispute that and deny that it was, because he did deny it, that it wasn't a love letter. But are you okay with me sharing some of the contents of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so and it referred to things like the word soulmate and being a wish granted from the moon and the stars. It was look, objectively speaking, they were really nice words. I felt very manipulated because something I had shared with you guys is that words of affirmation is one of my love languages. So, and I had shared with you guys how I really value handwritten notes and letters and stuff. So I felt like that was a piece of information that I'd shared that was almost taken and used in this certain way. And referred to things like being in love and all this stuff. So we were supposed to go diving together the next day. I canned that. I messaged you. You were coming to Ubud. You were coming back to Ahmed that next day as well. And we were obviously going to catch up. And I messaged you and said, hey, we need to talk ASAP. You need to come and see me the moment that you get in, please. And you arrived
And I was arrived at the villa that we lived,
Yeah.
and he's telling me, don't go. I say, Amanda want to meet me. She's my best friend. Why I'm not going?
Yeah.
And he's like, don't go. And then, but I left him and I go to you. I have no idea.
Well, you tried to, because he drove you, right? Because he was messaging me going, what's going on? Don't you dare show her this. Don't, like, what are you doing? He was calling
so
me.
Threatening you, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, I trusted you, as if this was like, it's not my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did message him and said, hey, I'll give you an opportunity to tell her what's happened. But either way, like, I was going to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember him driving you to our meetup point because I was parked far away watching because I wanted to make sure that you were going in alone and that he would leave so that I could talk to you. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to be around him. I was like, I never want to see this person again, essentially. And he wouldn't let you go alone. So I think after receiving that message from me, he drove home.
Me there, yeah, to meet you.
No, but then after that, you guys went back to your villa and then he told you everything, kind of.
He kind of like, he says something happened. I say, what happened? I have no idea why he's coming, but I decided to meet you first. So he was dropping me to see you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the ocean. You showed me the letter.
No, but before that, remember he told you that he wrote the letter.
Oh, yeah. I think he did told me. I was like, what happened? What's the letter?
Yeah.
And he's denying. He say just a friendly gesture.
Yeah.
That the letter he was giving to you is a friendly gesture because he see you quite suffering and you're crying. And so he want to give you something sweet to comfort you. That's what he telling me. So I was like, okay, let's see. So I went to meet you.
Yeah, and then obviously we met, and that was really difficult for both of us because obviously we're best friends. This thing has now happened. I feel like I've been involved in something that is hurting my best friend, and that really sucked. And I gave you the letter. Mm-hmm. What were the realizations for you in that moment, in that time? Because you're talking about, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, all of this is a learning experience for both of us, like for all of us.
For all of us.
But, you know, we can't speak for other people, but I know that it's absolutely been a learning experience for me, and it was for you too. What did you realize? What were some things that came up for you kind of when you saw the full picture? Like when you'd read the letter, when you heard things from my perspective, when you got his perspective on things?
Well, at that time, after I read the letter, and I was shocked, and I was also released that I know the way I work on my channel, that I was left him, how to say, I was ignore him a lot of time because I was working on my career really hard, and I didn't give him what he wants. I know that he need a lot of physical contact and a lot of quality time, a lot of attention that I didn't give to him because I was working my ass off on my career.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Like, communication's important, and there were, you know, there's opportunities there for him to have communicated that to you.
Yeah, and at that time I read the letter, actually I was not in pain at all. I didn't feel bad at all. I was like, I know that our relationship have a problem because I've been dating this bonobo for like 2 years at that time. And I've been telling him to do exercise, do meditation, like do some physical training, because the physical training is really important for human being. It's for your own health. But he never listened. He just never wanted to do yoga with me, do meditation with me. He never wanted to go for a run with me. I've been doing exercise every day, try my best. So we have a lot of things not in common.
Yeah.
So I know our relationship already have a problem, but I just choose to ignore it. I don't
There were
want
some
to see it.
incompatibilities that you
It's
ignored.
a lot in
Okay.
there. So when I read the letter, I noticed, I didn't give him what he wants. I know it. And also I know that what he did is not okay. It's dishonest, and you are my best friend. It's not nice to give my best friend a love letter.
Yeah, not at all.
That's pretty shit.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was okay, actually. I was released. That I know the relationship had problem, and I was really appreciate what happened. I'm really grateful what happened, because I can see that, okay, I need to end it, because he's from a really good family, but he got a lot of bully in school, and a lot of but nobody liked him when he was kids. So he developing that skill, which is called people pleaser move. He really good people pleaser. So when he was try to get me before we were dating, for half years I deny. I said no to him. I don't want you. I see you have a lot of pardon. My sense, how to say, my instinct telling me no, this person no. But he do a lot of like people pleaser things to me and to my family.
He's trying to win you over.
He tried to win me over. He fly to China for twice. And he make a video, speak Chinese to show my parents.
Yeah.
He want to take care of me. He know that marriage is really important in China. The commitment is really important for relationship in China. So he know how to get me. He do all this thing just to win me over. So I realized, okay, he have a lot of trauma. His people pleaser move because it come from his childhood.
Yeah.
Because nobody like him. And so I realized that. And also he have some narcissistic traits, right? Who write a love letter to girlfriend's best friend?
Yeah, I mean, some people do.
That's
some
pretty
up shit.
fucked up.
Yeah.
And after the love letter, I went back home to talk to him. I say, look, it's over. But he's, oh my God, he was crying, he was begging on his knees, on the floor, banging his head on the floor, and crying and screaming, and show me how sad he is. He said he's wrong, and he's, I don't know if he's acting. He was having panic attack. He said, call me ambulance, call me Julia, and I cannot breathe. He was really dramatic at that night. And I tell him, look, this is not okay, what you did. And I'm leaving. And so I'm go back to Ubud and maybe fly back to China. But he was, oh my God, the whole night he didn't sleep. He was crying all night. So I watching him was abusing himself, banging his hair. So
which is really hard to watch.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch.
Yeah, and that's
pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I mean,
really good.
It's also really sad. It's difficult when you were in pain and you're watching this, and obviously you still loved him at that time, and you don't want someone that you love to be suffering. And you had a lot of compassion and understanding for his background, his childhood stuff, and whatever. But I mean, I guess in all of this, you learned a lot about yourself. That's what we're talking about here as well. Because as much as we can kind of go down and dissect and talk about another person's actions. I mean, for you, what you said there, actually, I wanted to touch base on is in your instinct, you knew at the beginning that he wasn't right for you.
Yeah.
And you chose to ignore that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you ignored it?
Red flag. Because as a Chinese woman, we have a lot of pressure about marriage. Like a certain age, we should get married, we should have kids to prove the family we are worthy.
Yeah.
That's how we prove ourselves. We have a lot of expectation from parents. We want to satisfy them because we are people pleaser. We try to
What's
get the
expected of you.
validations, from parents. So I want to get married. I want to have kids. So he know it. And he know that's my weakness point. So he makes a video talk about speak Chinese to prove my parents. He fly to China to meet my parents. Then that catch me. That's my weakness.
So in that, what I want to touch base on though is that you knew, because I think it's important, we talk about this now about really listening to your gut and your intuition.
Yeah.
And you saw red flags, but that was you choosing to ignore something that you had already seen. Is that something that you've learned from now?
Well, I learned a lot. And mostly the most important thing is that some people treat you so well and they please you, they satisfy you all your needs. It's not because they love you. It's because they want something from you.
Okay, let's dive into that a little bit, because I think there's a lot to kind of uncover there.
A lot.
Where, well, for one, I don't necessarily believe that it's someone's job or someone's role to, especially in a relationship, to complete another person. Yeah, like we're all individuals. We all are responsible and accountable for ourselves, for our own actions, and we're responsible for our own happiness ultimately. And I think often you go into a relationship expecting another person to make you happy. I think it's healthy. Obviously, we all have needs within a relationship, right? Like there's boundaries within a relationship. You want to be able to communicate what your needs are, and hopefully have in the space of a healthy relationship, you've got a partner who's able to meet with you, and then you build something together and you're able to meet each other's needs. But we're really not talking about going and completely being responsible for someone else's happiness. Being able to just communicate, being able to say, hey, one of my needs is clear communication. If we're going to have conflict, then just to tell me what you need, whether it's space or a conversation, whatever. And I've lost my train of thought here a little bit. But you and what are we calling him again? Bonobo. You recognized that you had needs in the relationship, like during the relationship, that after all of this winning and stuff, like they weren't being met.
Yeah, I think I be with him. I think mostly because the expectation from my parents.
Okay.
I want to satisfy my parents' needs, not my own needs. For example, when I was taking him to rock climbing in Laos, we make a documentary there. And all my life, I've been dating strong rock climber. By him, the bonobo, he barely do exercise. So imagine the conflicts and between, like, the dynamic in the relationship. So that I know, I don't want to say that he's not good enough for me. I'm just say there's a lot of things we are different.
It's just different.
But I ignore it. For example, he don't like exercise. For me, I've been athlete the whole life.
Yeah.
I love it. I need to do exercise every day. But him is play video game.
Okay.
So we have a lot.
So
of
there's a
things
conflict in
common.
like core values.
Yeah, core values.
Yeah.
I ignore it. I totally ignore it. I say, okay, I want to get married. I want to settle down. I want good relationship. I want to have kids. So it's me.
And this was the person who was there. So you recognize you were choosing to ignore red flags. You were choosing to ignore your instinct, your intuition.
My core value.
Yeah, the things that you know what you need. Or perhaps not need, but what's important for you to have in a romantic relationship. So you chose to ignore all of that because
He's
partly
stable.
yeah, partly because he was there and available, and also because of your parents' expectations.
Yeah. Also, I like him. I like him as a certain way. He have a lot of good quality. So I choosing to focus on the good quality and ignore the thing that we are nothing the same. So I think I didn't listen to my heart. Yeah, definitely. So that's big lesson for me. Yeah.
And the idea, I guess, when you were in this practice of being more self-aware and being able to recognize, hey, these are my patterns, these are decisions that I've made that I don't want to make again in future. What are some like commitments, or what have you decided for yourself to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, actually, what happened in Ahmed, it just is the beginning of the drama. So we went back together after 1 month, and me and Bonobo, we decided to go to therapy together. I would say, okay, let's working on it, because at that time I was not fully healed. I didn't aware that I have the trauma from my parents, that I want to satisfy my parents. I want to fulfill the needs so I can get the validation and win my parents' respect, because I want to get married. At that time, I still have that low self-esteem. And so I went back to Bonobo. I said, hey, he was chasing me, right? He want me back.
Yeah.
He come to Ubud. He started to go to yoga. He started to do meditation, and he posts on social media just to show me every day that he's working on himself. So I was like, okay, maybe this man realized that he did something wrong, so he want to change. So, okay, I should give him a chance, because we've been dating for 2 years. We do love each other. We do have a lot of already built a lot of connections. So I said, okay, let's go to therapy together. Then he said yes. He found a therapist online, and during Christmas he went back to Germany to spending Christmas with his parents. I cannot go because I don't have visa. Then at the time I was expecting he coming back, so we back together to working on the relationship.
Right.
But after he coming back, he was telling me, hey, I want to go to traveling alone to an island and by himself. He said, I was burned from all this work lately. What happened? I feel really bad about myself. I want to reset my mind. So I said, okay, I will pay for your trip. I was wanting to fix it. I really want to work on it. So, and after he went back and he told me he met somebody else. So basically, he was dating around the whole places.
Yeah.
Dating a lot of women when we are not together. When I was expecting he's working on himself, actually he already started dating.
Right.
So I was like, we make a commitment to each other that we were working on it. We go to psychology together, but you already cheat on me again.
Yeah.
So at that time I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. And so we break up. Then I went to Ubud. I was go to therapists, spiritual practice, events, all the kind of workshops, really starting to look at myself, dive deep to what's going on to me, why I have this, like this pattern. Like I want him, but he's still cheating on me. Why I'm still put myself in this place to hurt myself.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't love myself. I realized that I don't love myself at all. Yeah, so from there, I starting to really have a deep awakening. Yeah, I should get out and I should working on myself.
Yeah. And that's a big step, leaving an unhealthy and a toxic relationship that, you know, you're really strongly holding on to, and obviously with someone you love, someone who has hurt you over and over again. And I think it's pretty easy. Often people will say, you know, just leave, like get out, obviously, as if
it's not
as if
easy,
yeah,
guys.
and a lot of the time it isn't, because there are deep wounds, I think, that it calls into, right? Like it comes back, what you were saying, that deep down you recognize you didn't love yourself, And so there's this acceptance of any kind of love that's available, rather than, you know, when you're coming from a place of lacking, it's like being starving, right? If you were starving and you have no access to food, if someone offers you anything to eat, you will take it.
Yeah.
No matter how bland, no matter how unhealthy, no matter how horrible the food might be, you will take it because it's food and you're starving. But if you're someone who can feed yourself, if you can nourish yourself and you cook and you feed yourself and someone offers you food, well, then you don't just take anything. You take, you know, you're looking for perhaps a dessert, a delicious dessert
a
that's
buffet,
going. No, well, you know, but that's the point, is like when you come from a place of abundance, when you come from a space where you love yourself,
you fulfill,
and you're fulfilled within yourself, you no longer accept scraps.
Yeah, exactly. But why we put ourselves in that thing, then that situation is hurting
Well, that's it, right? I mean, and that comes back to the question of ignoring red flags, ignoring your gut instinct. Even, I think something that was quite difficult for me to see was after everything that happened with me, like the love letter, and when you said that you guys were going to work it out. Obviously, like, I love you and I want you to have the best and for you to be happy, and I'm here to support you. Like, it's not my role as your friend to step in and to fix things for you or to remove you from the situation, even if I didn't see that it was something that was going to be beneficial to you. And, you know, I think great friends hold each other accountable, and I had shared with you what my thoughts were on that, but I did tell you, no matter what you choose and what you decide, I'm still going to be here to support you. But that was quite difficult for me to watch you go through it again.
Again, the cheating
and then
part.
Again, yeah, and it happened actually several times after that. And it's kind of crazy that we put ourselves in the position over and over again without, I guess, taking the lesson immediately. Like, sometimes we're just really stubborn individuals and the lesson needs to be drilled in us over and over and over again until we learn.
Exactly.
But the beautiful thing that has come from all of this and all of the pain and the heartache is that you were able to recognize a big thing that you were lacking in yourself.
Exactly.
That you didn't love yourself, that you were out there trying to... I was
seeking the validation from my parents.
Yeah. So really missing that core thing, that childlike part that always just wanted to be loved.
Exactly. Yeah.
By your parents.
Yes. And after that, after the breakup, there was a hell of a healing journey, you know, because what he did is he already cheated on me at that time, but he keep begging me to come back. He know that I want to marry, I want kids, so he was coming to my place every day to begging me on the floor. He even begging me on the street to say, hey, let's go, let's get out of here, let's go somewhere, start a new life together. But at the time, he already fucking around, you know? He was cheating on me, he was fucking around, but he still wants me. And for me, I learned the lesson. I say, hey, it's not okay, you do this again and again. So I take a picture when he was begging me on the street, sent to all my friends.
No, okay.
I wasn't mean. I wasn't really mean. I admit it. But, but he did it this many times, but he's still cheating. And he already have like a physical fucking around with many women already. And he's still coming back to me. Imagine how shitty he treated me.
Yeah. But also, I think an important thing there is, you know, we can't control other people's actions.
Yeah, we cannot,
The only thing we have control over is ourselves, our responses, and who we choose and allow into our life. And I'm glad that even though perhaps it took a little while that you
I'll be awake.
yeah, I guess that you recognized actually this is someone who's really not good for me.
Really toxic, yeah.
And you ended it finally.
Yeah.
But I mean, the main thing that I want to come back to, because I think what's important in all of this is just that we recognize what can I learn from this for myself? Like, what is this whole experience inform me about me, and what choices do I have now for the future? Because it's, we can sit here and we can criticize his actions, obviously these actions are not ones that you or I align with. Like, we don't agree with this kind of behavior. It was something that was very hurtful. It was damaging to various friendships, and the whole situation was shit. But, out of pain, there's a lot of beauty.
Gold. A lot of gold.
A lot of gold, sure. Yeah, there's a lot that can come out of these painful and these challenging moments, and these ruptures in relationships that aren't ideal. It's not like you would ever wish this on someone, but we can choose to take away a lot of great valuable lessons from them.
Exactly. I totally agree.
And what do you think were the key lessons for you coming out of this?
Well, a lot, to be honest. After this, I went to a lot of therapists, really dive into myself subconsciously. And first of all, I definitely not love myself, didn't follow my heart, and didn't align with my soul. Then that's the reason I put myself here, because I want to prove everybody that I am the person. I can get married, I can have a stable relationship. Even this person is not 100% good for me, I'm still put myself there. That's the first lesson. And second lesson is I'm too care about the traditional way of thinking about woman.
So being able to just let go and release these
totally
values
released.
that you don't subscribe to.
Yeah, and now I am really, confident and strong enough to say fuck off of the traditional things. And I will not marry just for I'm seeking for validation from my parents.
Yeah.
I will find the one really who is good for my soul, who is good for my heart. I love him 100%. And that's the biggest lesson I learned. And the number 3 lesson is I noticed that me and Bonobo, we have a lot of lacking communication, like you mentioned before. He have a lot of physical needs, emotional needs, but he never say anything to me. I was just working my ass off on my career, on my computer, and he just choose to shut up because he don't have the skill. He didn't develop the skill from his parents. From Germany education, they're not good at expression what they want and what they need. So me and him was lacking a lot of communication.
Oh
no.
There's an alarm going off. Sorry.
Okay, is your phone, yeah?
Yeah. Oops. Stop. Yeah, it's okay. We'll put it away. Don't worry.
Okay. So we can just keep going for the communication.
Yeah, no, it's
part.
fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lacking
communication.
in communication.
Yeah.
I guess what I want to ask though is so you've learned these lessons. What are you going to do differently?
Well, first
for yourself,
all,
like what you have control
myself,
over, right?
yeah.
Because we can't control anyone else. It's not about, it's not about changing someone else's actions. It's just about you and what you have learned for yourself and what you can do within yourself.
Yeah, the roots of Chinese culture was pretty deep in everybody, and it's not easy to take it off like in couple days, a couple weeks, couple months. We've been living in that system like all our life, so it's not easy to really say, okay, I'm not married, no children. It's really difficult. All the women was living in that system. So now what I can do myself is to really think about to doubt the system,
To question it,
to
to
question
challenge
it.
it. Yeah.
Am I really want this? Or just my parents want, or what my friend is doing the same? Actually, I don't want to get married. I'm good with myself. I am happy. I don't need to prove to anybody that I'm worthy. I am somebody can have a stable relationship.
Yeah.
This is not my dream.
Okay.
Actually, we can question, is this is really what you want, or just somebody want from you?
Yeah.
So that's biggest lesson I learned. And definitely not second is when I see a man who is treating me really, really well, who give me whatever I wanted, I will question that. Is it really from his true heart, or is just his trauma?
Okay. So understanding intentions behind people's actions.
Also, number 3, me, I'm definitely not a perfect person. In relationship is for both sides, not only one side have problems. So in my side, that I can really working on communication, working on like really asking what my partners want, and give him what he wants, communicate better, and many things. Wow, now I'm really just, my mind doesn't work really much, and really communicate what you want. Also, tell your partner what you want, and ask your partner what he wants, and really know each other's trauma, know where we're coming from, so we wouldn't hurt each other unconsciously. Yeah, that's big lesson that I learned, to spot on each other, to help each other, to support each other, to grow, to be a better person. Yeah, that's also that I learned from my past relationship.
Yeah, because I think we will inevitably hurt each other. That's just a natural part, right? Sometimes you don't mean to, but understanding the other, understanding their trauma, that's what helps us to show up in a better way
to help each other.
Yeah, not only for our partners, I think for friends, for family. It's just you can come from a place of compassion and kindness a lot more. Wow, thanks, YaoYao.
Thanks, Amanda, for this drama.
So my final question is, what is something kind that you are doing for yourself?
Something kind is taking myself for a date.
I love
give
that.
myself a spa, and grateful, and to put myself surrounding people like you, who is nourishing your soul and support your growth, and always there, no matter who you are. Yeah, and,
I love you. And
also really encourage you to be the true self, to align with your heart, your soul, everything. Yeah, it's really important to have a friend like that.
Well, I really appreciate you. I love you very much.
Me too. Thanks for inviting me here.
Yeah, thanks for joining along. This was very unplanned. I kind of just dragged you on, was like, hey, do you want to come record with me? So thanks for doing that. Wow. If people want to follow you on Instagram, what's your handle?
My name is YaoYao Forest. And if you want to check it out, you can go to Instagram. Also go to Chinese YouTube. It's called Bilibili, YaoYao Forest. I'm there.
Cool. Thank you so much, YaoYao. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. My name is Amanda Tran. You can follow the podcast at self_podcast and at Amanda Letran. That's Amanda Letran on Instagram. New episodes every Thursday. I will see you next week. Thanks a lot. Thanks again, YaoYao. And we're out.
Ooh,
bye.
Bye-bye.